We're live from the CNN News 18 primetime studios, brought to you by Green Lamb Laminates. Viewers, Rahul Gandhi has ascribed to himself a new mission, and it's a grandiose one. As if safeguarding the constitution wasn't ambitious enough, the Congress scion now claims he's, quote, fighting, unquote, the Indian state itself. We'll never know if he intended to make an ebullient declaration of hostilities, but it certainly came out that way, addressing scores of fawning Congress party leaders while inaugurating a spanking new party headquarters for the ages. The Congress General Secretary said, and I quote him, "If you believe that we are fighting a political organization called the BJP or RSS, you have not understood what is going on. The BJP and the RSS have captured every single institution of our country. We are now fighting the BJP, the RSS, and the Indian state itself," unquote. Viewers, conflating the Modi government with the Indian state betrays a profound lack of familiarity with the architecture of India's polity. This is inexcusable, especially when one considers that Rahul Gandhi is the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha. And even if Rahul Gandhi genuinely meant to say that he and his party need to prepare themselves to fight the capture of the state by the BJP-led NDA and the RSS, then he could have phrased his remarks along the lines that, quote, "We are now fighting the BJP and the RSS takeover of the Indian state itself," unquote. But he didn't, viewers. Anyway, Rahul Gandhi's clumsy conflation of the Modi government with the Indian state has triggered a bitter war of words. The BJP has attacked Rahul Gandhi for quoting out of the, quote, urban Naxal, unquote, playbook. The term urban Naxal is a euphemism for a section of so-called activists who support ultra-left-wing insurgencies against the Indian state. So in a sense, the BJP is calling Rahul Gandhi a traitor. This is what JP Nadda, BJP president, has said, and let me quote him. "Hidden no more. Congress' ugly truth now stands exposed by their own leader. I compliment Mr. Gandhi for saying clearly that the nation knows that he is fighting the Indian state. It is not a secret that Mr. Gandhi and his ecosystem has close links with urban Naxals in the deep state who want to defame, demean and discredit India. His repeated actions have also strengthened this belief. Everything he has done or said has been in the direction of breaking India and dividing our society," unquote. The Congress, true to form, has hit back to save Rahul Gandhi the blushes. Pawan Kheda, Congress spokesperson, has said, and I quote him, "Nothing is more rotten than you calling the ideology of Gandhi and the ideology that freed India from the tyrannical British rule rotten. This is up. Time is up for the rotten secret society or the RSS," unquote. Even if for a moment one were to give Rahul the benefit of the doubt and acknowledge that he might have made a clumsy syntax-related error, there's no explanation why the Congress party would name its new headquarters after Indira Gandhi. After all, the only time in Indian history when the Indian state was, quote, captured, unquote, in a manner of speaking, was under Indira Gandhi's tenure as Prime Minister. And we are going back almost 5 decades, viewers, when in 1975, Mrs. Gandhi imposed emergency upon the country by suspending the constitution. In one stroke, the Indira administration virtually seized every conceivable lever of the state's machinery. If Rahul Gandhi and other Congress party notables are so very concerned about upholding the salience of the Indian state, wouldn't they have thought twice before naming the new head office after the former Prime Minister who laid siege to the Indian state for 21 long months? You know, that's a fundamental question. Let's open this up. Let's ask these questions tonight. What is really going on? And I want to begin first with Kamru Chaudhary, political analyst. Kamru Saab, you're very respectable. You come with a lot of preparation for this show. And therefore, I want to ask you a slightly challenging question tonight, which I'm sure you will be able to answer with aplomb. The fact is, for a moment, let's forget that Rahul Gandhi made a clumsy grammatical error. Instead of putting a comma, he put an and. Fair enough. But I want to ask you, sir, he holds the Constitution up. He says, I believe in this. Dr. Manmohan Singh has apologized for the emergency. Rahul Gandhi has also apologized for it. In this new age, when he is speaking of the Constitution, when he says that all that matters to him is the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, why would you, if you respect the Indian state so much and want to put it on a pedestal and safeguard it, why would you name the Congress party office that will now serve the Congress party for the next 100 years or whatever it is, after Indira Gandhi, the person who desecrated the Constitution? Why would you do this, sir?
So after 40 years, we are still discussing about the emergency days, for which the Congress party has already apologized, Rahul. Coming back to the main topic of discussion tonight, have we really understood the meaning of the Indian state? What does it mean? Are you confusing with the Indian nation, Indian state's definition as described in Article 12? What does Article 12 say? In particular, it lays down a definition what constitutes an Indian state. The states, the government, the parliament, the president, the governor, the cabinet, and all those local bodies that constitute the the state, the Indian state. But one thing, Article 12 does not mention the Indian judiciary. It does not mention the Indian army. Does that mean that Indian army and the Indian judiciary are out of the Indian state or the Indian nation? No. So here it's very important to understand the distinction, what Rahul Gandhi meant and what you are understanding rather out here. I am not doubting your comprehension, but I believe there is some mistake in your comprehension, because the basic institutions that we are proud of in India, like the Election Commission of India, like the ED, the CBI, and all those institutions which are constitutional authorities, which we were proud of, have somehow or the other been compromised under the authoritarian rule of Narendra Modi government and the RSS ecosystem. That's why I say not only Rahul Gandhi's statement, but a lot of my countrymen out here, we feel that we are fighting against the Indian state.
Okay.
An Indian state which does not definitely mean the Indian nation. It means the systemic errors or the systemic in which the Indian state is being constituted as of now.
Okay.
The what do you call this? The religious.
So you said he's only talking about the elected government. That's what you're saying, right?
No, I'm not talking at all about the elected government. I'm talking about the nature in which Narendra Modi and the RSS ecosystem have captured the institutions that constitute the Indian state.
Okay. The institutions that constitute the Indian state. Now, just viewers, suspend everything that Mr. Chaudhary said. I just want to read out 124 sedition. Whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by signs, or by visible representation, or otherwise brings or attempts to bring into hatred or contempt, or excites or attempts to excite disaffection towards A, the government established by law in India, shall be punished with imprisonment for life, to which fine may be added, or with imprisonment which may extend to 3 years, to which fine may be added, or with fine. Explanation: the expression disaffection includes disloyalty and all feelings of enmity, comments expressing disapprobation of the measures of the government with a view to obtain their alteration by lawful means without exciting or attempting to excite hatred, contempt or disaffection do not constitute an offence under this section. Viewers, the Indian state certainly comprises of parliament. Let's not forget that. Parliament is the cradle of our democracy. And if you want to come out, I may or may not agree with the sedition law. I may think it is too open, viewers, academically speaking, too open to misuse. I may want it scrapped, I may want its provisions diluted. But this is how the law stands today. And Parliament is sovereign. If you want to wage a war against the Indian state, you're basically saying, I want to wage war against the Parliament. The same Parliament in which you are a member of Parliament, in which you hold by oath office, and that too of leader of opposition. Viewers, this is strange. I don't know what you're trying to justify, Mr. Chaudhary, because by your definition, which is so restricted, why then does the Congress have to apologize for imposing emergency?
Rahul, we have lost elections.
It's not as if Mrs. Gandhi. It's not as if Mrs. Gandhi. No, hang on. I mean, I can't understand. It's not as if Mrs. Gandhi suddenly took over control and command of the Indian army, even though the Indian army is professional in this country. So why are you apologizing? Then what's the difference between you and Indira Gandhi? And if there is no difference between the BJP and Indira Gandhi, etc., in your scheme of things, why are you naming a party headquarters after her? This is this is dysfunctional logic, sir.
Here.
This is hypocrisy. 1 minute. You've made your point. I've opened some questions. Let me bring in Pradeep Bhandari. What is your problem, Pradeep Bhandari? Why are you making such a big mountain out of a molehill? They're only talking, and let's be literal. He's made a bit of a mistake, syntax, grammar. वो सब चलता है. Rahul Gandhi is known for all this. So why are you taking him so literally? You know what he's meaning.
Well, Rahul, in the next 2 minutes, I will demolish his anti-national agenda. First of all, at the outset, Article 12, which Kamru mentioned, also speaks about the Parliament of India. It does not speak about the government of India. So when he refers to the Indian state, it is about the unity and integrity of India. Now, I charge that Rahul Gandhi's statement is exactly that of an urban Naxal. Charu Majumdar, the founder of the militant Naxalism in the country, had written 8 documents which became the fulcrum of Naxalism in India. And I want to quote from that. Those 8 documents say that the objective of Naxalism in India, militant Naxalism in India, is that the Indian state is a bourgeois and the fight is to overthrow the Indian state and the fight is against the Indian state. So the militant Naxalists fight against the Indian state. Rahul Gandhi speaks about fighting against the Indian state. Point number 2, when Rahul wants to fight against the Indian state, he wants to fight against the unity and integrity of the Indian state, and I will prove it, and this all reconfirms from his past statements. It is not a mere coincidence that when a banned terror outfit, Sikh for Justice, openly advocates what Rahul Gandhi says, Rahul Gandhi is silent. It is not a coincidence that when Hafiz Saeed praises the Congress party, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is silent. It is not a coincidence that on 7th March 2023 at Chatham House, Mr. Rahul Gandhi advocates for foreign intervention in the Indian democracy. It is not a coincidence that Rahul Gandhi calls individuals outside Jammu and Kashmir as Bahar ke log. It is not a coincidence that Rahul Gandhi questions surgical strike because he is fighting the unity and integrity of Indian state. And I will end with another part. It's just not about the unity and integrity of Indian state. The fulcrum of the Indian state is the Indian democracy which Rahul Gandhi is fighting. This is why he's appropriated emergency by naming Congress headquarters as Indira Bhawan, because they are not apologetic about it. And point number 2, George Soros, who Rahul Gandhi is in remote control of, wants to fight the Indian democracy. Rahul Gandhi wants to fight the fulcrum of Indian state, which is the Indian democracy. And I will end by telling you what right hand of Rahul Gandhi, who campaigned with Rahul Gandhi in Bharat Jodo Yatra, which is Mr. Yogendra Yadav, said about the Indian democracy. And I quote the right hand of Rahul Gandhi. He says that the record of the democracies is not good. The benefits of democracies are fictional. The democratic governments are not in well-meaning of Indian citizens. The right hand of Rahul Gandhi says that democracy is not good. Rahul Gandhi fights the Indian state. It is clear what he said is absolutely anti-national in nature. And it is urban
this is not some
nature.
Freudian slip. This is not a syntax error, Dr. Ranganathan. And let me bring in Mr. Kidwai also. This is intended, says the BJP. This is the first clear as JP Nadda says, instance where Rahul Gandhi's anti-India agenda is no longer hidden. That's what he is saying. How do you respond to this? Do you believe in it? Do you think too much is being made of it? Doctor.
Good evening, Rahul. Look, good evening to my fellow panelists. This was bound to happen. The only surprise is that it took so long. For Rahul and the Congress, hatred for Modi has transmogrified into hatred for India. But Rahul Gandhi's Freudian slip, if you want to be charitable to him, is still misplaced, because it is not now that he wants to fight the Indian state. The entire history of the Congress party has been fighting the Indian state, and they have been doing it ever since we gained independence. Let me explain. But first, the definitions. By fighting, I mean waging a war against the Indian state, its federal structure, its hallowed institutions, its Supreme Court, its election commission, undermining our fundamental rights, promulgating evil laws, curtailing economic growth through socialism, giving away Indian land. That is what is fighting the Indian state. And this has been going on for 75 years. How do you fight against the Indian state, Rahul? You do so by dismissing democratically elected state governments. You do so when a citizen's freedom of speech and expression is brutally curtailed and stormed upon. And that is what Jawaharlal Nehru did through his First Amendment to our Constitution, following which, under him, dozens of books and films were banned, historians and editors were jailed, press curbing acts passed. How do you fight against the Indian state? You do so when the president and the judiciary is forced to curtail our fundamental rights, and that is what Indira Gandhi did through the emergency, following which tens of thousands of Indians were jailed and killed and sterilized, and constitution's body and soul and preamble altered with gay abandon. How do you fight the Indian state, Rahul? You do so when a Supreme Court's considered verdict is overturned with impunity, when the citizens' right to privacy is snatched away. And that is what Rajiv Gandhi did through the Postal Act and through overturning the Shah Bano judgment, ushering in an era of blatant appeasement. How do you fight the Indian state? You do so by passing the Discriminatory Places of Worship Act, denying Indian citizens the fundamental right to approach even a court. You do so by gifting one community the powers to encroach, confiscate, and adjudicate on another community's land and property through the Waqf Act. How do you fight against the Indian state, Rahul? You do so when tens of thousands of activists are arrested and charged with sedition and called anti-national, when the election commission is severely compromised, which is what Sonia Gandhi did when, under a proxy rule, 8,000 activists were charged with sedition in a single day, when 630 square kilometers of Indian land was given away to China, when Naveen Chawla, despite the Shah Commission charging him with committing atrocities during the emergency and deeming him unfit for office, was appointed a chief election commissioner, ignoring the trials of the CEC that Chawla was spying for Congress and passing sensitive information. Just 30 seconds. How do you fight the Indian state? You do so when FCRA Act is retrospectively amended, rendering the High Court conviction of political parties like the BJP and the Congress toothless, which is what happened under Rahul Gandhi, when High Court conviction of the Congress and BJP was rendered useless through a parliamentary amendment brought in by the BJP and supported by the Congress. Just 10 seconds. Nehru, Indira, Rajiv, Sonia, Rahul, these are the rogue generals who have, through their armies of the day and of the night, relentlessly waged a war against the Indian state. But facts don't matter to Rahul, because he is as blank as his copy of constitution that he brandishes.
Well, viewers, remember, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress recently even supported the Bharat Tere Tukde Tukde lobby, if you remember, in JNU, who came out and insinuated that the Supreme Court, not insinuated, they actually said that the Supreme Court had carried out a judicial execution of Afzal Guru. It did not apply its mind. It hanged a innocent, they said. And they called it a judicial execution, viewers. And elements of that gang today are actually working with Rahul Gandhi to revive the Congress, at least one individual. Anyhow, I don't want to go down that route, but undermining the Indian state when you rule through a proxy prime minister. You do all of this. You set up a parallel government, literally. And you turn the prime minister into an accidental one. Not my words. Anyhow, let me bring in Mr. Kidwai. Mr. Kidwai, what is going on here? Has Rahul Gandhi completely lost sense of proportion? What is he saying? And where is the proof? This is incitement against the Indian state, incitement against government, incitement against individuals. Fine, I understand as being opposition, he can criticize. But do it with a fair degree of equanimity.
Yeah. So I think Rahul Shivshankar, I think what Rahul Gandhi spoke today was in a context. It was a political pronouncement. One may agree or may not agree, criticize, accuse him of all kind of allegations and charges. But the contemporary history of India is such that several political parties, including the BJP's earlier avatar, that being Bharatiya Janata Sangh, have indulged in the same rhetoric, accusing a political party of using state apparatus to further its political agenda. There was a call by Jayaprakash Narayan to overthrow elected government by saying Sampurna Kranti, and he asked people who were in army and in the police to defy government orders. There was several laws were there, existing laws known as MISA and Defense of India Act, and people who were arrested and booked are getting handsome pension by the several BJP ruled states. There have been AGP and several other political parties, not to talk of Akali Dal, who have openly challenged the Indian state on one occasion or the other and have become ally of the ruling party. So there is a whole history. I can go on naming pronouncements, incidents, etc., that reflect that, bringing, leveling this allegation that a particular party which is in power, whether it is Mamata Banerjee or Arvind Kejriwal, is using state apparatus, prachar, prasar, all kind of, resources at disposal to further a particular, and of course the allegation against communist governments also, that that they want to control and they want to further that agenda.
So what's the point?
Nothing new. It is a simple case of baat ka batanga.
Just one second. Would you?
It's a political position.
Okay, so one second, Mr. Kidwai, let me ask you a counter question. Then I'll bring in the others who are raising their hands to intervene. Would you concede that Indira Gandhi undermined the Indian state? Would you concede this?
Obviously.
Now, just hold your thought there. Gentlemen, for the record, ladies, for the record, this gentleman said, yes, definitely, and he's written in the book. I understand that, sir. That's why I brought you on tonight. There is a reason why Mr. Kidwai is here with us tonight. So he acknowledges that a grave attack on the Indian state was carried out by Indira Gandhi. This speech that Rahul Gandhi makes is from a stage in the new Congress headquarters. Now, viewers, when a party sets up its national headquarters, it is imbued with symbolism. It's like a temple for a political party. That temple is named after whom? It's called Indira Bhawan. You could have had several names, Rashid Bhai, and I have even tweeted some names that the Congress party could have considered. But no, you choose Indira Bhawan. So are you lionizing the fact that Indira Gandhi, you are rewarding her in a sense posthumously by imprinting her legacy, as flawed as it is, on your building, on your temple. So now tell me, Kidwai Sahab, what greater example of lionizing constitutionalism than this? Just answer me, sir. Would this not be?
So, Mr. Rahul Shivshankar, since you brought me and you're saying it is for a specific purpose, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that Indira Gandhi's imposition of emergency and the kind of excesses that were committed was a blot on democracy and our democratic credentials, etc.
Yeah.
That having said that, Indira Gandhi lost election. She went back.
I don't care about that. I'm only asking you. Rishid Kidwai Sahab.
You let me speak or you just speak yourself.
No. Lost election doesn't.
Let me finish. So the same Indira Gandhi, she went to People's Court, that being 1980 election, and she won. Of course, as Mr. Kamzama was saying, she apologized. This is all part of legacy.
Nobody apologized.
Mr. Rahul Shivshankar, what I'm trying to tell you, that political parties do take this posture. For instance, the Akali Dal burned copies of Indian Constitution. They endorsed Anandpur Sahib resolution, and subsequently, of course, they became, a part of NDA. And so was AGP. What did AGP do in Assam? And several other political parties. I'm not coming to PDP and several others, or Mizo National Front.
Sir,
lot of instances.
But excuse me, AGP,
so,
yes.
Political parties, let me conclude. Yeah. Political parties have a right to learn and live. And that is being a political legacy. It is not that somebody becomes...
Kidwai Sahab, symbolically, politics is about symbolism, right? You know that. I mean, I don't need to tell you. You're too senior a journalist for me to remind you of this fact. When you put Indira Bhawan and you stand up with the constitution and you stand under the rubric of Indira Bhawan, doesn't it look out of place? Just a simple question. Does it or does it?
It's for the political party to bear those consequences.
Bear the consequences. We leave it to the party.
No.
Now, viewers, they would never say that about Narendra Modi. If Narendra Modi comes up short, one second. If Narendra Modi comes up short, they will not say, chalo, he's been paid by the Indian electorate, ab ho gaya, aage chalo, he can come back to office, no problems, all sins are washed.
Absolutely, Rahul,
can I reply to that?
No, one second. Pradeep Bhandari and Dr. Ranganathan want to come in.
First of all, the Sampoorn Kranti,
I'll come to you.
Kranti of 1974 by Jayaprakash Narayan was not against the Indian state, it was against the Indian government of Indira Gandhi, which was totalitarian in nature. Yeah, Mr. Gandhi specifically referred to the
endorsing what I was
BJP and
saying.
Indian state. That is point number one, Mr. Kidwai. Point number two, do not justify like the Congress party has been doing, where it has eulogized, appropriated, supported the Indira Gandhi's emergency by naming it as Indira Bhawan. Rahul, it could have been a Nyaya Bhavan, it could have been a Constitution Bhavan, it could be
Kendra,
a
Satyagraha Bhavan,
Satyagraha
Ekta Bhavan, Seva Sadan, Sarvodaya Kendra, Nav Bharat Sadan, Manav Adhikar Kendra, Nyaya Bhavan, Pragati Bhavan, Swatantrata Sthal. It could have been named after the Samvidhan in several ways.
But
Viewers,
did they do it?
this would have been in line with
Because
Mahatma
they
Gandhi's
want to
legacy.
fight the Indian state, and those who imposed the emergency by demolishing the Indian state during the time of emergency wants to exactly do that when they come to power.
Okay,
that is their real intent.
Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of Mr. Kidwai's arguments? They have their
No, it
place.
is not-
What do you make of them?
It is not for me to rebut Mr. Kidwai. He has his views and I profoundly disagree with them. I think at this stage one cannot rationalize or even cushion the draconian era of emergency, least of all to castigate Jayaprakash Narayan, who Pradeep very rightly said was against Indira Gandhi and her overturning of the Supreme Court judgment on emergency, but just before that of the Raj Narayan case. I mean, are we rewriting history out here? I mean, crimes are crimes, for heaven's sake. Number two, and this is very important, and please bear me out, much more draconian than emergency. I consider, because emergency, there was dictatorship, so it's very easy for you to bring in dictatorial laws and draconian laws to stamp upon the fundamental rights. I blame Nehru more than Indira Gandhi, because Nehru did it democratically. Please understand, by passing those draconian amendments and allowing the parliament and his cronies to pass them, by dismissing democratically elected governments, Nehru evaded the castigation that Indira Gandhi suffered because of emergency. But he did much worse, and we are still suffering. At least when the emergency was over, we stopped suffering the draconian laws that the emergency brought. But what laws that Nehru brought, the amendments that he brought, we are still suffering after 75 years.
We are still suffering.
So who was more draconian? Nehru was more draconian than Indira Gandhi.
And of course, during the emergency, viewers, without the consent of the people, even the preamble was changed.
Yes.
Words were inserted. The consequences of which we are still living today.
Yeah,
So,
Rahul, can I come in?
there are issues. Yes, Kidwai Saab, and then,
No,
yeah.
again, look,
Yes.
I agree with Dr. Ranganathan. All these things are political formulations, which political regimes do, and other political regime always has a right to overturn. Just that you are talking about changing preamble, the Narendra Modi government can muster a courage, as it has done in case of Article 370, to address the issue of inclusion of or continuation of word secularism and socialism.
No, Supreme Court has actually not.
Constitution.
Supreme
That
Court
is
says
basic
that.
structure doctrine of the
Yeah.
Indian Constitution. Nobody can touch
There's
that.
no attempt.
No, the
So
basic
the
Supreme
structure.
Court has said that there can be no
Emergency
challenge.
provision.
Anyhow,
Yes.
anyhow,
sad.
anyhow.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Provisions of emergency still exist in Indian Constitution. What we are debating and discussing and talking is the misuse of it. No subsequent government after Indira Gandhi has removed.
That doesn't
those
justify
articles.
anything, sir. You yourself
what
will
is his
acknowledge
argument?
it
I'm not
doesn't justify.
justifying. I'm just
There are
saying, no,
sedition
viewers
laws.
should know. No,
There
no,
are
no.
sedition
Since you
laws.
credit
There
me
are
with some-
laws to there are laws to send the ED after XYZ. At that time, you don't say, "Nee, to laws exist here, so they should be
So
they
that
should be
is the point.
used."
I think
I mean, come
Pradeep
on.
was absolutely right.
Rahul
Yes. Bhandari was absolutely right when he said about emergency. What JP did was a gross,
But
he
viewers,
raised
no
that-
one is coming out. I understand. No one is taking a
I
position.
am
Let me
saying
try.
what Rahul Gandhi was saying the same thing.
Okay,
He was
okay.
accusing the BJP of using state power. That is a political formulation.
No,
But
Mr.
he
Kidwai
didn't
has
say
been
that
wrong
I will
interpreting
fight
Rahul
the.
Gandhi better
He's
than
not
Rahul
saying
Gandhi.
that I am
But
fighting the BJP
see,
and the
you cannot-
RSS who have captured the Indian
Absolutely,
state.
yes.
He's saying I'm going to fight the BJP,
Fighting
RSS,
the Indian
and
state.
the Indian
And the
state.
Indian state.
That is
This is
bizarre.
absolutely like an urban
Precisely.
nexus.
And he has
That
not come
time-
out and said.
My
And
dear
Kidwai
friend,
Saab, please
that
be
time
fair.
Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of Indira Gandhi was a state apparatus. It was
Sir,
not a personal this thing of Indira
Sir,
Gandhi.
sir, please.
Yes,
Indira,
sir.
Indira is India. India is
Subsequently
Indira.
joined BJP.
No, hang on, 1 second. 1974, D.K. Barua Sahab came out with this formulation. Within a year, emergency. She really thought
What
she
did
was
DK
India.
Barwa-
Let me
Now
ask you.
that- Rahul, please just let me complete one sentence. Now that you have brought Mr. D.K. Barwa, who had said that India is Indira, Indira is India, he went and deposed before Shah Commission of
Yes,
Inquiry
and he
against
went
Indira
and
Gandhi.
became a socialist, sir. I all know that. Please,
Yeah.
let's not
So that's what I'm
become.
saying.
But the fact is,
Politicians
the
and
fact
leaders have a
is,
right to
he
live
was
and
Congress
learn.
president. He was Congress president. Two wrongs don't make a right, sir. You can't say that, oh, Indira Gandhi did what she did. She was served up comeuppance, she was defeated, then she came back, so she got vindicated. ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, sir.
And she never apologized.
And she never apologized.
And of emergency has
one
been
minute,
Indira Gandhi
1 minute.
and part of BJP.
Okay, sir, the point is, I am talking tonight about the hypocrisy over constitutionality. A particular party has made it its mission to say that we are the safeguard, we are the guardians of the constitution. The person who desecrates the constitution is given pride of place by that same party, and that party's putative chief, boss, whatever in the future, attacks the his opposition, which is the BJP and the RSS, saying that they are the ones who are desecrating the constitution. Viewers, it's absurd. And I don't even know if, okay, let me bring in Chaudhary Saab. Chaudhary Saab, I mean, take a position. Do you think Indira Gandhi's name should be on a board of a party that is today making its principal electoral stance, plank, safeguarding
Rahul,
of the constitution? Simply.
Rahul, let me ask a very blunt question out here.
Please.
Is there any competition who is a bigger leader, Indira Gandhi or Narendra Modi, that we are debating on a person who has given a life?
One is a dictator, the other is a democrat.
Because
it's not
you name,
there's no debate.
No, wait. इतना जल्दी गुस्सा मत हो जाओ.
नहीं, गुस्सा नहीं
भाई,
हो रहा,
हमने
तथ्य रख रहा हूं कामरू
हमने
भाई.
तो नरेंद्र मोदी स्टेडियम को नमो स्टेडियम नहीं किया. हमने तो नमो वंदे भारत नहीं नाम किया ना. हमने अपना कांग्रेस.
अरे भैया, इंदिरा गांधी ने इमरजेंसी लागू करी कमरू जी. देश के संविधान का चीज धरण इंदिरा गांधी जी ने करा है.
नरेंद्र मोदी ने भी अपना नाम स्टेडियम पे नहीं डाला, वो बीसीसीआई ने डाला. आप लोगों ने तो अपने ही नेता को, अपने ही नेता ने अपने आप को ही भारत रत्न दे दिया.
कौन अमित शाह का बेटा चलाता था?
Okay, anyhow, viewers,
Rahul, I congratulate you for your Hindi.
Viewers, this is absurd. I mean, this is not cutting it. You can create as many excuses. Dr. Ranganathan, any number of excuses can be made. But just look at the juxtaposition of this. This man says, I am fighting the forces of the RSS, the BJP, because they are desecrating the Indian constitution. Who does the Congress put on the pedestal? Indira Gandhi. What did she do with the constitution? It's a very simple thing, and it's all happening on the same day within minutes. Explain to me.
In the service of the nation. She taught Pakistan a big lesson. She
That
brought
does not
the
justify.
entire banking
That does
system
not
on track.
justify
And what has
imposing
Narendra Modi
emergency.
done? He brought in the demonetization. He literally made the
Saying
What is
viewers,
it? What-
this is
right
a bit
now.
like saying that
Second gentleman
Putin
called
is
her
the greatest
Durga.
ever
You cannot-
Russian leader
you do
because
not
he
have
invaded
the-
Ukraine and
you do not
defeated
have
it.
the-
I mean, you know,
No, a
let us be a
person who
little.
has
I am
laid
not
a
saying
life
that
for the
Indira
country.
Gandhi lacked any virtues. I'm not saying that. Am I saying it? I'm just saying today you
That's
are
because
fighting.
you are debating because Congress has named his
Okay, Mr. Chaudhary, just think,
Bhawan.
look, I know that you are a dyed-in-the-wool congressman, so I understand where you're coming
that's
from,
not the
but be a
point.
little
You talk
objective, sir.
logic, I will take
Dr.
talk
Ranganathan,
logic.
am I being,
You know, when you
am I being
Rahul,
a troll?
sorry,
Simple.
Sorry, Rahul. No, I'm just saying that look, when one fights the Indian state and one wins against the Indian state, in a literal war against the Indian state loses territory. So it's a simple question to my good friend Kamruji. Was Mr. Shyam Saran, who was the UPA secretary, was he right or was he wrong when he said that under the UPA we lost 630 square kilometers of Eastern Ladakh territory? Yes or no?
ना कोई गुस्सा है ना कोई गुस्सेगा.
There we go.
Okay,
Whose
ठीक.
statement was that?
Okay.
अच्छा तो बता, अभी तक ये जो कह रहे थे चीन ने घुसपैठ करी वो भी गलत है.
Okay.
नहीं,
Let me,
वाह,
let me,
कामरू जी, वाह.
let's, okay, we're going around in circles, sir. Fair
जिन्होंने
enough.
99 इंस्टीट्यूशन 66
अरे,
schemes
Okay,
अपने
we're
नाम
going
पे
around
रखी,
in
आज
circles.
उनको
We're not
लोकतंत्र
going
का
anywhere
पाठ
with
पढ़ा.
this.
आनंद जी जब
Okay, one
मंगलवार
second.
जाता है मार्च में,
I
तो
understand,
किसका
sir.
फोटो आ
I
जाता है
understand.
टीवी
It's
में?
okay. It's okay. It's
नरेंद्र मोदी
fine.
का.
I understand. You're absolutely right.
What a
We rest our
supremacist
case.
guy this
My
is,
point
and
is yours.
narcissist.
We're going
And these
around in
people come on
circles.
television
Remember
and
one
try
thing.
to-
Had the BJP come out and named, let's say, an airport, Veer Savarkar Airport, what would have happened in this country? They would have said a person who was sworn to
Plaque
communalism
was removed.
is being, yes.
Mani Shankar Iyer removed the plaque.
Absolutely.
Mani Shankar Iyer removed the plaque.
From exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Had that name been readmitted, re-put there, or perhaps even airport had been named, what would they have said? They would have said lionizing a communalist. But viewers, lionizing a dictator is no problem, because you see the trains ran on time. So big deal. Anyhow, I leave it at this. Viewers, I really want to focus on something that is